Hi everyone, welcome back to this final video on the National Security Agency, boomerang routing. While it is assumed that foreign transmissions terminate in the US, subject such as non-US citizens accessing a US website, subject non-US citizens to NSA surveillance. Recent research into boomerang routing has raised new concerns about the NSA's ability to surveil the domestic internet traffic of foreign countries. Boomerang routing occurs when an internet transmission that originates and terminates a single country transits another. Research at the University of Toronto has suggested that approximately 25% of Canadian domestic traffic may be subject to NSA surveillance activities as a result of boomerang routing of Canadian internet service providers. Hardware implanting. A document included in NSA files released by Glenn Greenwald's book No Place to Hide details how the agency's Tailored Access Operations (TAO) and other NSA units gain access to hardware. They intercept routers, servers, and other network hardware being shipped to organizations targeted for surveillance and install covert implant firmware onto them before they are delivered. This was described by an NSA manager as some of the most productive operations in TAO because they preposition access points into hard target networks around the world. Computers seized by the NSA due to interdiction are often modified with a physical device known as Cottonmouth. Cottonmouth is a device that can be inserted in the USB port of the computer in order to establish remote access to the targeted machine. According to NSA's Tailored Access Operations Group Implant Catalog, after implementing Cottonmouth, the NSA can establish a network bridge that allows the NSA to load exploit software onto modified computers, as well as allowing the NSA to relay commands and data between hardware and software implants. Domestic collection. NSA's mission as set forth in Executive Order 12333 in 1981 is to collect information that constitutes foreign intelligence or counterintelligence while not acquiring information concerning the domestic activities of the United States persons. NSA has declared that it relies on the FBI to collect information on foreign intelligence activities within the borders of the United States while confining its own activities within the United States to embassies and missions of foreign nations. The appearance of a domestic surveillance directorate of the NSA was soon exposed as a hoax in 2013. NSA domestic surveillance activities are limited by the requirements imposed by the Fourth Amendment to the US Constitution. Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court, for example, held in October 2011, citing multiple Supreme Court precedents and the Fourth Amendment prohibitions against unreasonable search and seizure applies to the contents of all communications, whatever the means, because a person's private communications are akin to personal um, papers. However, these protections do not apply to non-US persons located outside the US borders, so the NSA foreign surveillance efforts are subject to far fewer limitations under US law. The specific requirements for domestic surveillance operations are contained in the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act of 1978 (FISA), which does not extend protection to non-US citizens located outside US territory. Okay. President's surveillance program. George W. Bush, president during the 9/11 terrorist attacks, approved the Patriot Act shortly after the attacks to take anti-terrorist security measures. Title 1, 2, and 9 specifically authorize measures that would be taken by the NSA. These titles granted enhanced domestic security against terrorism, surveillance procedures, and improved intelligence, respectively. On March 10, 2004, there was a debate between President Bush and White House counsel Alberto Gonzales, Attorney General John Ashcroft, and Acting Attorney General James Comey. Attorney, the Attorney General were unsure if the NSA programs could be considered constitutional. They threatened to resign over the matter, but ultimately the NSA's programs continued. On March 11, 2004, President Bush signed a new authorization for mass surveillance of Internet records. In addition to the surveillance of phone records, this allowed the President to be able to override laws such as the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, which protected civilians from mass surveillance. In addition to this, President Bush also signed that the measures of mass surveillance were also retroactively in place. The PRISM program. Under the PRISM program, which started in 2007, NSA gathers internet communications from foreign targets from 9 US internet based communication service providers: Microsoft, Yahoo, Google, Facebook, Paltalk, AOL, Skype, YouTube, and Apple. Data gathered include email, video, voice chat, videos, photos, voice over IP chats such as Skype, and file transfers. Former NSA General Keith Alexander claimed that in September 2009, the NSA prevented Nasrullah Nazi and his friends from carrying out a terrorist attack. However, this claim has been debunked and no evidence has been presented demonstrating that the NSA have ever been instrumental in preventing a terrorist attack. Hacking operations. Besides the more traditional ways of eavesdropping in order to collect intelligence, NSA is also engaged in hacking computers, smartphones, and their network. These operations are conducted by the Taylor Access Operations Division, which has been active at least circa 1998. According to the Foreign Policy magazine, the Office of Tailored Access Operations, or TAO, has successfully penetrated Chinese computer and telecommunications systems for almost 15 years, generating some of the best and most reliable intelligence information about what is going on inside the People's Republic of China. In an interview with Wired magazine, Edward Snowden said that the Tailored Access Operation Division accidentally caused Syria's internet blackout in 2012. Organizational structure. The NSA is led by the Directorate of National Security Agency (DIRS NSA), which also serves as Chief of the Central Security Service and Commander of the United States Cyber Command, and is the highest ranking military official of these organizations. He is assisted by a deputy director who is the highest ranking civilian within the NSA CSS. NSA also has Inspector General head of the Office of the Inspector General OIG and the General Counsel, a General Counsel head of the Office of the General Counsel OGC, and Director of Compliance, who is head of the Office of the Director of Compliance. Unlike other intelligence agencies such as the CIA or DIA, NSA has always been particularly reticent concerning its internal organizational structure. As of the mid 1990s, the National Security Agency was organized into five directorates. The Operations Directorate, which was responsible for signet collection and process; the Technology and Systems Directorate, which develops new technologies for signet collection and processing; the Information Systems Security Directorate, which was responsible for NSA communications and information security missions; Plans, Policy and Programs Directorate, which provided staff support and general direction for the agency; the Support Services Directorate, which provided logistical and administrative support activities. Each of these directorates consisted of several groups or elements designated by a letter. There were an example the A Group, which was responsible for all signet operations against the Soviet Union and Eastern Europe; and G Group, which was responsible for signet related to all non-communist countries. These groups were divided into units designated by an additional number, like the unit A5 for breaking Soviet codes, and G6 being the Office of the Middle East, North Africa, Cuba, Central and South America. So here are just some pictures. This is the NSA main headquarters in Fort Meade, Maryland, in Virginia. This is the NSA listening station in Menwith Hill in England. And this is a picture of Echelon, which is made up of several countries, including America, England, um, Australia, New Zealand, and Canada. So I hope everyone, thank you for listening to this video, and I hope you enjoyed it. Please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing. So thank you very much.